Saudi Arabia just tore up the rulebook. They're not building another city. They're building tomorrow. Towers that run for miles. Mountains that make snow in the desert. A whole industrial city floating on the Red Sea. And the wildest part? It's happening right now. This isn't a sketch or a promise. These are real projects reshaping the map. The Line, Trojena, Oxagon, and more. This is the boldest transformation the modern world has ever seen. Watch closely. You're about to find out why the whole world can't look away. The cube. A perfect cube rising out of the Riyadh skyline. A giant folded box that looks like a piece of the future dropped into the city. That is the Mukaab, the bold centerpiece of New Murabba. Each side of this cube will measure 400 meters, high, wide, and deep. A three-dimensional statement so large that some reports say it could hold the volume of about 20 Empire State Buildings. This idea is meant to give Riyadh a single, unmistakable icon. A modern monument to a new era. The Mukaab is not just big for show. It sits at the heart of a 19-square-kilometer downtown plan called New Murabba. That wider plan is meant to remake a large part of Riyadh into a dense, modern hub of homes, shops, offices, and hotels. More than 104,000 residential units, over 9,000 hotel rooms, and millions of square meters of office and retail space are part of the vision. In short, this is a new mini-city inside the city, with the cube at its center. Inside the cube, the promise is almost like theater. Planners describe an enormous central atrium and a dome fitted with holograms, giant projection screens, and virtual reality effects. Walk into one space and the walls, light and sound could make you feel like you're in a faraway forest, a coastal scene, or the middle of a busy world city. Designers plan to mix visuals with scent and sound so the sense of travel is deep. You could sleep in one place and wake up feeling you'd crossed a continent. This is high-tech entertainment turned into a built environment. Work on the ground has moved fast. New Murabba's own updates show heavy earthworks are already done. Roughly 10 million cubic meters of soil moved, with excavation reported at about 80% complete for the cube and its podiums. Those numbers mean the Mukaab has moved quickly from drawing board dreams into real construction. The first phase of building aims to be ready by 2030. Time to feed into big global events and a wider economic push. The project is tied to Saudi Arabia's bigger plan, Vision 2030, which aims to shift the economy away from oil by growing tourism, culture, and tech. New Murabba, and the Mukaab specifically, are pitched as engines for that shift. Officials and planners say the scheme will create hundreds of thousands of jobs and add a large sum to non-oil GDP. Estimates in planning materials point to hundreds of thousands of jobs and many billions added to the economy. A signal that the cube is meant to be more than a trophy. It's a business and cultural magnet. Yet the Mukaab is a grand test. Building a perfect cube 400 meters on a side brings big engineering puzzles. How to handle foundations, how to bring light into such an interior, how to make the structure safe, and how to keep it comfortable inside a desert climate. It will also cost a great deal and rely on long-term demand for homes, shops, and entertainment. For every bold vision, there are practical headaches to solve. But large teams of engineers, architects, and builders are already at work trying to turn the idea into steel, glass, and stone. The Line. The Line feels like an idea from a science fiction movie, but it is being planned in real life. It is a single straight city that will stretch for 170 kilometers across northwest Saudi Arabia. Instead of spreading out, the whole city is stacked and narrow. Two mirrored walls rise about 500 meters high, and the whole building is only about 200 meters wide. The idea is to fit an entire modern city into a footprint of just 34 square kilometers. That tiny footprint is meant to leave most of the surrounding land free for nature. What makes the Line feel radical is how it rewrites daily life. There are no roads for private cars. Instead, people will walk to almost everything they need. Daily essentials will be within a 5-minute walk, and a high-speed rail will run the length of the city, so an end-to-end trip takes about 15 to 20 minutes. The planners say that by stacking services and homes, the city will save time, cut pollution, and free people from long commutes. The city will also run on 100% renewable energy and aims to keep 95% of the region as protected nature. At its heart, the line is meant to be a cognitive city. That means it will use smart systems and artificial intelligence to manage energy, water, transport, and even services. Sensors and data will help the city run smoothly and predict problems before they grow. Automated systems are meant to speed up everyday jobs and help people spend more time with family and friends, not stuck in traffic. The designers also plan microclimates inside the city. Careful mixes of sunlight, shade, and fresh air, plus green public spaces so residents feel close to nature even while living inside a giant built form. The line was first announced as part of NEOM in January 2021, and it is a headline project for Saudi Vision 2030, the long plan to diversify the country's economy. The line has been shown at big property events such as MyPim, where Saudi Arabia showcased immersive displays that let people walk through the idea and see early construction work. Since the announcement, the project has moved from talking about designs to appointing global design and engineering partners for the first phase. That step moves the plan closer to the real building on the ground. The numbers are staggering. Planners imagine the line housing up to 9 million people in that slim footprint. If it works, the city could show a new way to give people space, nature, and fast services without sprawling outward. King Salman Park. Imagine a sea of sand turned into a living, breathing garden. A place so big and green it will change how Riyadh feels. That is the promise of King Salman Park. Once the wide fields of the old Riyadh Air Base, this land is being reborn as the world's largest city park. The plan is bold. More than 16 square kilometers of new green space, art, sport, and calm in the middle of a fast-growing desert capital. The park is meant to give Riyadh back its name, the Green Land. Think of it this way. The park will be about 7 times the size of London's Hyde Park and 5 times New York's Central Park. That scale is not just for show. It makes room for forests, wide meadows, sports grounds, cultural centers, and quiet corners where people can escape the city noise. The designers did not stop at big open fields. Over 11 square kilometers will be planted with trees, gardens, and meadows, and the plan calls for around 1 million trees. Those trees will cool the air, give shade, and bring birds and insects back into the city. In a place where summers can be very hot, adding green like this helps lower the temperature and makes outdoor life easier. The park is being built with careful water systems, such as rainwater capture and irrigation that reuses water, so the planting can survive with less waste. At the heart of King Salman Park sits the Royal Arts Complex, a cultural hub that will draw crowds. Plans show a huge arts area covering roughly 400,000 to 500,000 square meters, with a national theater, several museums, art schools, and outdoor theater and exhibition halls. This is where big concerts, theater shows, and art fairs will happen, giving Riyadh a new stage for local and world talent. The complex aims to make culture part of everyday life for families who visit the park. One of the park's most striking ideas is the Valley, a long green corridor more than 800,000 square meters in size that will hold ponds and streams. These water areas are planned to support fish and plants and to provide rest stops for migrating birds. In effect, the valley will act like a small wildlife refuge inside the city, a place where people can watch birds, walk by water, and feel removed from the paved world around them. The designers want the park to be easy to use. A 7.2-kilometer pedestrian loop will circle parts of the site for walking, running, and cycling. The park also links to the city's transport network with nearby metro and bus stations, so people can get there without driving long distances. These links are part of a wider push to make Riyadh greener and less dependent on cars. This is a big public project, and it comes with big money and big plans. The park is one piece of a $23 billion government drive to reshape Riyadh, and more than $1 billion in contracts were given early on to start the work. Private investors are also expected to join in, making the park a mix of public space and places for business, events, and visits. The project is expected to create thousands of jobs in construction, landscape work, culture, and park management. Timelines for a project this large can change. Early reports hoped for an opening around 2025, but the park will actually open in stages, with parts becoming public as they are finished. And some updates point to public access rolling out through 2026 to 2027. That means visitors will see pieces of the dream come alive step by step. What makes King Salman Park feel exciting is how it blends big ideas with simple pleasures. It will be a place to run, play, sit in the shade, learn at a museum, watch a show, or simply breathe cleaner air. In a region known for rapid change, a huge green park is a quiet kind of revolution, one that puts nature, art, and people at the center of city life. If it can meet its goals, Riyadh will gain not just a park, but a new green heart. Oxagon. It's a city that looks like a giant mechanical sea star, sharp, ordered, and built to float. That is Oxagon, an octagon-shaped port and logistics hub inside Neom, planned on the Red Sea. It is billed as a new kind of industrial city, part land, part sea, and its offshore section is being called the world's largest floating structure. The idea is simple and bold. Move heavy industry and smart logistics to the water, free the land, and link the kingdom to trade routes that cross the globe. Oxagon sits where the Red Sea meets major shipping lanes. That gives it a natural advantage. Ships that pass through the Suez Canal already carry a huge share of global trade. By placing an advanced port and factory zone right on that route, planners say Oxagon will speed cargo, cut shipping time, and attract firms that want fast access to Europe, Africa, and Asia. The layout is an octagon with a long shipping canal cutting into it. Part of the city sits on the shore and a large section juts out into the sea. The floating portion is not a single platform but a carefully planned marine district. Renderings show water-filled squares linked by small canals, docks for big ships, and a cruise terminal where visitors can arrive by sea. There will also be an oceanographic research center, a sign that the project aims to combine trade with science, studying the Red Sea and its marine life, while industry grows beside it. Planners present Oxagon as a place where clean, high-tech manufacturing and deep-sea research can share the same stage. NEOM and Saudi leaders say Oxagon will push the kingdom toward a greener, high-tech industrial model. They describe factories that run with low emissions, advanced logistics using robotics and AI, and a port that is more efficient and kinder to the environment. The pitch is that Oxagon will be a factory of the future, a place where industry does not mean pollution and where design protects the surrounding nature rather than destroys it. Numbers often help the argument. NEOM links Oxagon to big economic promises, tens or hundreds of thousands of jobs, and a multi-billion-dollar boost to the non-oil economy. For planners, Oxagon is both a symbol and a tool. It signals a new future while trying to deliver the jobs and trade needed to make that future real. But building the world's largest floating structure is not a small task. Engineers must solve hard questions about foundations, sea currents, corrosion, and how to keep heavy industry safe at sea. There are also environmental worries. How will the construction and the new port affect marine life, fisheries, and coastal ecosystems? Big projects like this often face local and global scrutiny, and their success depends on careful planning, long-term money, and clear rules. Trojena Sky Village. Trojena sounds like a fever dream in daylight. A snowy village carved into hot desert mountains. It is Neom's mountain jewel, a bold plan to put skiing, hotels, sports, and culture high on Jebel al-Lawz, where peaks reach about 2,600 meters. The goal is to make a year-round mountain escape with real slopes, fresh air, and big views, a place that can host winter sports and still sit inside one of the planet's hottest countries. At heart, Trojena is a contrast. Around it, the desert stretches wide and dry. Inside it, planners promise white slopes, a huge man-made lake, and a cluster of hotels and villages where visitors will eat, sleep, and watch sport. NEOM's numbers are dramatic. Nearly 870 square miles of mountain area, about 18 miles of ski runs, a dozen hotels, and a massive lake reported to hold up to 15 billion gallons of water. The mountain will also host downhill and other winter events for the 2029 Asian Winter Games, a world first for the Arabian Peninsula. Making snow in the desert is the central magic trick and the central test. Trojena will lean heavily on artificial snow systems, helped by the mountain's high altitude, which sometimes brings real snow. To feed the lake and the snow machines, the project expects to use desalinated water lifted up the slopes, stored and moved around by big pumps and pipes. That means lots of energy and complex plumbing, and the planners say they will use renewables and modern engineering to keep the system running. Still, moving billions of gallons uphill and keeping ski runs white in a hot region is a giant technical and cost challenge. Construction has raced forward in bursts, but the push to finish in time for 2029 has run into real pressure. Beyond the ski runs, Trojena aims to be more than a playground. The plan includes wellness villages, adventure parks, restaurants, and year-round events that pull visitors in every season. Planners also talk about care for the mountain environment, designing routes to avoid fragile areas, studying local life, and trying to plant a legacy that stays after big events finish. If it succeeds, Trojena could turn a remote mountain into a global sports and tourism magnet. Jobs, hotels, and new skills for local people. But the project raises real questions. Can a man-made lake and a fleet of snow guns work without huge energy and water costs? Will wildlife and local water systems be hurt by the rush to build? Can the works be kept safe and affordable over decades? All large, fast projects ask these things. And Trojena is no different. Some critics call it visionary and risky at once. Supporters say it could rewrite what a desert can offer the world. Either way, Trojena is not a quiet plan on paper. It's a bold experiment, a high mountain idea planted in lowland sand. And the world will be watching whether that dream skis into reality or melts before the gates open. Sports Boulevard. A long green corridor crossing Riyadh from west to east, joining Wadi Hanifa with Wadi Al Sulai along Prince Mohammed bin Salman bin Abdulaziz Road, the Sports Boulevard. A bold plan to turn more than 135 kilometers of city space into a place for sport, play, and quiet green life. The idea is simple. Give people safe paths, shady parks, and modern facilities so the whole city can move more, meet more, and breathe easier. Spread across the route are huge swaths of open ground, about 4.4 million square meters of greenery and public space. The boulevard will host facilities for more than 50 sports, from soccer and athletics to climbing and sand sports. It will offer 220 km of cycling tracks, 140, 9 kilometers of horse riding trails, and 135 kilometers of pedestrian walkways. Those numbers mean nearly everyone in the city can find a place to run, ride, or train close to home. Riyadh is growing fast. The city now has more than 7 million people, and many need more options to exercise, relax, and spend time outdoors. Wadi Hanifa and Wadi Al Sulai have long been natural escapes at the city edge. The boulevard links these valleys with a continuous designed corridor that brings green space into the heart of daily life. The goal is bold. Help make Riyadh one of the world's 10 most livable cities by giving people better health, more sport, and more places to meet. The plan does more than lay out paths. It creates districts with different characters. Some stretches will be focused on high-level sports with stadiums and training hubs. Others will be gentle parkland for families and cafes. There will be sand sport zones, arts and cultural spaces, and small business areas where shops and services can open. Planners also announced a landmark global sports tower, a vertical center for indoor sport and events designed to act as a beacon along the corridor. This mix is meant to keep the Boulevard active at many hours and to support local businesses and tourists. Economics sits at the heart of the project, too. The Boulevard ties into wider city investments and is expected to create thousands of jobs during construction and many long-term roles in coaching, event management, park care, and hospitality. New shops, bike rentals, sports clinics, and cafes will form small economies along the route. In this way, the project aims not only to change how people live, but also to boost local wealth and job chances across Riyadh. Building green infrastructure at this scale in a dry climate is a technical challenge. The Boulevard must use smart planting, water-wise irrigation, and durable materials that stand up to heat and dust. Designers plan large shaded areas and tree-lined corridors to cool streets and fight the urban heat island effect. Careful planning will be needed to protect natural habitats in the valleys and to make sure the new green spaces are resilient for decades. The Sports Boulevard is already being built in stages. Sections will open piece by piece so people start to use them, while the rest is still under construction. This staged approach helps test ideas, fix problems, and grow public interest as the corridor spreads across the city. The Prince Mohammed bin Salman Stadium. The Prince Mohammed bin Salman Stadium, often called Qiddiya Stadium, is being built as a high-tech heart for sport in Saudi Arabia's new entertainment city. It sits inside Qiddiya, a vast project outside Riyadh, and is one of the main venues chosen for the 2034 FIFA World Cup after FIFA's formal confirmation of Saudi Arabia as host. That decision makes this stadium a global stage, not just a local arena. This is not a normal stadium. Architects at Populous drew a bold design that cuts into the landscape and frames dramatic views of the Tuweek Escarpment. Inside, the venue will hold about 47,000 spectators and blend sport, entertainment, and culture in one place. Planners call it the world's first fully integrated stadium with a combined retractable roof, pitch, and LED wall. That means the roof, the playing surface, and a giant internal screen can move and change, letting the space switch from a football match to a concert or a film screening in hours. Work on the site has already started, and big construction names are on the project. A joint venture led by Spain's FCC Construction, together with Saudi contractor Nesma and partners, won the main building contract. The deal is worth more than roughly $1.1 billion, showing how much money and effort is being poured into making the stadium a technical showpiece. Early videos and site footage show heavy earthworks, concrete pours, and carefully staged foundations moving ahead. Engineers face serious challenges. The stadium sits on sloping ground and the design cuts into cliffs, so builders must manage complex foundations and rockwork. The retractable roof and a huge LED wall bring extra technical load. These systems must be safe, reliable in hot weather, and fast to deploy. Inside, climate control is key. The stadium will need to keep players and fans comfortable through hot days and cool nights. Meeting FIFA standards while delivering these novel features makes the build both a design and engineering test. Beyond the hardware, planners want the venue to be useful every day. It will host club football, plans to name Al Hilal and Al Nasser among its future tenants, as well as concerts, cultural events, and community sport. The idea is simple. Instead of a stadium that sits empty for most of the year, Qiddiya's arena should be a living place that supports local teams, brings tourists, and keeps a steady flow of jobs and services. That mixed use helps make the big price tag easier to justify. Timing is tight but clear. The stadium is scheduled to open in 2029, giving organizers time to test systems and house smaller events before the World Cup in 2034. The 2034 tournament itself will run in January-February, a cooler window for the region, and Saudi planners are aligning a decade of work to meet that timetable. Even so, large public projects often shift as technical work, supply chains, and budgets change. So staged openings and careful testing will matter. The social and economic promise is real. The venue is part of Chedia's wider plan to grow tourism, entertainment, and jobs. Officials say the stadium and related projects will create thousands of construction and long-term roles, from event staff and coaches to hospitality and retail positions. For Riyadh and the Kingdom, the new stadium is both an icon and a practical engine for growth. Amaala. Amaala is a new kind of luxury place on the Red Sea where art, health, and nature meet. Built inside the Prince Mohammed bin Salman Natural Reserve, it aims to be the world's first integrated family wellness destination. The idea is simple: give people time to rest, get well, and enjoy beauty, while protecting the land and sea that make the place special. The first phase, called Triple Bay, opens the door to a quiet, high-end experience. Around 1,300 rooms and 8 hotels welcome guests, with the first hotels arriving in 2024. By 2027, Amaala plans to expand to over 3,000 rooms across 25 hotels, plus nearly 1,000 luxury villas, a yacht club, shops, and fine restaurants. The focus is on calm, quality, and time well spent. Days of seaside walks, gentle sports, art shows, and spa programs that help the body and mind. Sustainability shapes every choice. Only 5% of the 4,000 square kilometer site will be built on. The rest stays wild and protected, keeping habitats, birds, and marine life safe. Amaala says it will run on 100% renewable energy, aim for zero carbon, and send no waste to landfills. That promise matters. Guests can enjoy luxury and still know the place they visit is cared for. The design is quiet and elegant. Hotels and villas sit low in the landscape, using local materials and soft colors that blend with the shore. Public spaces focus on art and culture. Galleries, open-air stages, and workshops will bring artists and visitors together. Wellness programs range from medical-grade retreats to simple yoga, plus nutrition plans and water-based therapies drawn from the sea's natural gifts. Amaala also plans activities for families and adventure seekers, safe beaches for children, water sports, guided nature walks, and boat trips to coral reefs. A yacht club and marinas will welcome the sea-loving crowd, while curators will arrange seasonal events that celebrate local culture and global art. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.